Your dad flew to New York City to reprimand a young actress? Any words on this? Because that's creepy as hell and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech. No. Shame on your father.
Father!
So, an Instagram post. I'm sorry. So this Instagram post was being shared around in response to the whole Snow White fiasco.
Weird.
And it's because this person decided to choose drama and attack the family member of someone she disagrees with in the weirdest way possible. Now, I don't know if this is like an OnlyFans person or whatever, because they happen to do this for engagement, so people visit their page. I don't know anything about this person. I think the profile was Brent or something, but the dude shot back basically saying that Rachel Zegler did hurt the movie. And I think this guy clapped back. He was like, "You really want to do this?" No, that's not how he would sound. "You really want to do this?" Like that dude from freaking Fargo in the elevator.
Is this what you want?
Now, judging from what happened with Gina Carano and her being fired from a Disney franchise, or a franchise that fell under Disney, while Pascal and Rachel Zegler were almost not touched and still kept their jobs, is crazy. We can talk about that, but I think in general, if you're gonna be marketing a movie, then yeah, you should probably keep your mouth closed about things that could be divisive to your audience. You're working and representing the franchise, so yes, definitely, it behooves you to keep your mouth shut, at least after you finish the job. And I completely hate how people have this narrative of someone being a young actress. Like she's 15 years old. She's a whole ass adult. Whenever people want to have body autonomy and claim they shouldn't be talked down to like they're children and want the freedom to do whatever they want because they're grown, that's fine and understandably so. But whenever they do something wrong, all of a sudden, she's a young actress. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Whether she's 60 or 30 or 20 or 120, it makes no difference. She's still an adult. But that's not the biggest issue here. The biggest issue is this person, if this even is a real person, making this post to Jonah in the first place, trying to make it seem as though he needs to answer for his father doing his job, and then trying to tell the guy, "Shame on your father." I'm sorry I do the accent. I'm sorry. It's not, they make all villains do that accent, so you can't really blame me. That's a Hollywood thing. Anyway, but it's just weird that she's like, that's creepy and uncalled for, which is so ironic because so is her making this post. The father's doing his job and he's creepy? The hell? Who actually does this? Why not go to the father's page if you have an issue with him? Why would you go to a family member's page to say that shit? Like, bitch, shame on your father for not making your mother swallow you. That brings up another question. Should actors be blamed for a movie flopping?
I think yes.
Daddy.
Yes, sweetheart.
Your dick is leaking pre-cum and it's leaving a wet spot on your pants.
Hey, at least TV shows are making a comeback, right? We don't have to actually worry about that flopping. I mean, sort of. They get canceled or they run on too long that they become stupid. The Walking Dead anyway. What the hell is going on here? What the hell? Are their hands breeding? What the hell's going on? Look, I get that people say actors are just doing their job and shouldn't be blamed when a movie flops, but I don't fully agree with that. Because if you're the face of a franchise, especially something aimed at families or kids, then yes, some of the responsibility is on you. You chose that role. You weren't forced into it. We're not talking about extras or supporting roles. We're talking about the face of a franchise. When you're front and center of a $200 million film, or over $200 million, let's be honest, that's marketed to families or even just the general public, you're not just an actor, you are the brand. You're the first impression, the spokesperson, you're the living embodiment of the story. And if that's the role that you signed up for, you don't get to play dumb when your off-screen antics or public statements hurt the very thing that you're supposed to be uplifting and representing in a positive light so that people actually want to come see it. I mean, not like people want to see Disney movies anyway, but, even more the reason for you to at least make yourself look good so you can have a chance of people following you off Disney's franchise to something else. And Snow White, like so many other things, specifically works that come out of Hollywood, kind of symbolize the death of the movie star, so to speak. It seems like back in the day, being a star meant carrying yourself with a certain level of grace, professionalism, and awareness that you're part of something bigger than yourself, not just something that you alone worked on, but that other people are a part of.
Ambiguous. Do you find it hard for celebrities to talk to media about their sexuality?
What on earth are you on about? But what is your question?
I was wondering if you find it difficult for celebrities to talk about their sexuality.
I don't find it difficult for celebrities to talk about their sexuality. Are you asking me about my sexuality?
Sure.
Why? Thank you.
Okay.
Honestly, that was so freaking great. But yeah, nobody's asking movie stars to be perfect. Everyone's aware that they're human. I mean, some people might not think so because they idolize them to the degree that they'll want to eat their scat if it drops out in front of them on their face, which is freaking bizarre. But at the very least, you need to understand your role in the ecosystem. A movie star used to elevate the project, but now it seems as though their main goal, a lot of them, is to drag it down with controversy before the film or the show even premieres, before people even see it, before there's even a freaking trailer, you've got controversy. And they're like, well, all press is good press. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
It's no different than endorsing a product. But yet, if you're the face of a cereal company or a toy line or anything family oriented, you know people will be watching how you act, not just on screen, but off. So if you're out here being divisive, smug, condescending, or treating criticism like people are out to personally persecute you, people will associate that energy with the movie that you're attached to. It is unfortunate, but that's how branding works, especially if you're being paid millions of dollars. And if you don't want to be a part of the brand, don't take the check. So yeah, I do think these actors deserve some of the blame when things go south, especially if they're running their mouth and attacking the audience of all things when they're doing stuff like that. But they don't deserve all of it, though. I know the writers and directors and execs and marketing teams, they all play a role as well. But like when your face is on all the posters and all the trailers and interviews and whatnot, your name is like at the top of the cast attached to the product's identity. The spotlight kind of works both ways, though. You get the glory, but you also get the blowback.
To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them,
You pausing for dramatic effect?
that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
And yes, this comes with expectations to act a certain way. If you want the freedom to say whatever you want, go make indie films where you can be edgy and unfiltered and whatever. But when you're starring in a film where you're supposed to be representing this innocent princess that nobody wants anything to happen to, but you act like the villain by finding it more important while you're trying to be marketing the movie to have a soapbox on freaking politics of countries that you're not even a part of, when you know there's already a lot of sensitive issues surrounding the people from those countries involved in those very things, while also insulting the shit out of the audience that you expect to pay you, insulting the source material of the thing that you're playing in. I mean, are you serious? Movie stardom used to come with weight and responsibility, and now it's like a revolving door for influencers and actors who want all of the benefits of being famous. They want the money, they want the fans, want people to worship them, but they don't want any of the responsibility that comes with that. And then when they act all goofy, the defense is, I'm telling my truth, okay? But just like the rest of us, you're not above criticism because you have followers or because you're starring in a movie that nobody wants to see. You can't just crash out and then cry victim. You want to be a star, then act like one, because right now, too many aren't. And that's exactly why Snow White flopping isn't really an isolated failure. It honestly kind of seems like it's functioning as a turning point, or at least a lot of movies that came before it was, but people are seeing it more and more now, and I think it's just more widespread. And honestly, if you're not okay with being held to that standard of being a star, you know, don't take a role where you're supposed to be wholesome, charming, and lead in a movie for kids and families. And again, you'll have the people coming out and be like, oh my god, yes, queen. Then when the person picks a fight with other people, they're like, oh my god, she's young, like the freaking woman in the beginning of the video. She's a young actress, but she's adult enough to speak her mind, but then expects to be treated like a young innocent victim when she's a grown-ass adult. All of these actors do this, by the way. Not all of them, but a lot of them do that. The modern-day actors all do that. Maybe actors have always been narcissists. It probably comes with the territory, but it's crazy how they're grown-ass adults that light fire to their own careers and the relationships that are supposed to be fostering with the audience they want to pay to see their movies. John Boyega.
Just go to the bodega.
That's another one of those instances where someone should have just kept their big mouth shut.
They're pandering. Let me tell you, Star Wars always had the vibe of being in the most whitest elite space.
Like, this franchise is so white that it's like a black person existing in that was something. And you can always tell it's something when some Star Wars fans try to say, well, we had Lando Calrissian and had Samuel L. Jackson. Huh? It's like telling me how many cookie chips are on the cookie dough. I'm like, bro, they just scattered that in there, bro.
What the hell?
They're okay with us playing the best friend, but once we lead, once we trailblaze, it's like, oh my God, it's just a bit too much.
Fuck is that voice? Rose, since you're failing as an actor, you could just take up voice acting because you're really good at that. Look, I get that John has had some bad experiences with Star Wars, and yes, no doubt, there is actual racism in Hollywood. That is real, and that needs to be talked about, but it's not coming from the place people think it's coming from, especially in regards to how black people are portrayed in Hollywood by the roles that they are given or how their roles are treated. But honestly, the way he went about it kind of came off as very bitter and just really unnecessary. Like, bro, you were front and center in one of the biggest franchises in the world. That alone is a huge deal. But instead of appreciating the platform and addressing issues in a way that can open real conversation, he just came off as very highly emotional and butthurt. And I find it interesting how he's going specifically after the fans, at least from that clip. And this includes black people, by the way. We have an issue with Disney just tokenizing black people. There's so many people who are tired of it. And you can see one of those instances in this Reddit post from this person who's tired of Hollywood basically setting up black actors to fail. And I like what he or she said at the end. They said, as a black viewer, I'm tired of seeing this. Stop giving racist ammunition. Stop casting your cool and badass characters with white actors and reserving all the poor roles to actors with melanin. It's just really frustrating at this point, and I'm at my wit's end. Because it's true, that's what they're doing. And they're shining these people in a bad light, giving them bad characters, race swapping already established characters that people love, and specifically making them black, no other color. It almost seems like, kind of like an indirect, underhanded hate crime, in my opinion. I mean, this actor is going out of his way to bitch about the fans and this and this and that, but he's not talking about the real issue, which is Disney bending over backwards to hide his face on posters to appease actual racist countries who don't want to see a black person's face on the poster of a movie that he's a big star of. Like, I find that very interesting. He was already small back there, but they were like, nah, China's not about that life, so let's just take him out completely so it doesn't rub them the wrong way, and then they're delightfully surprised when he shows up in the movie. And other people had called this to everyone's attention. And someone said here, funny answer, Disney loves to virtue signal at home but will cater to racist demands abroad. White or black, green always wins. And they do the same thing for characters who are queer or gay. All for the Chinese market, right? Which is hilarious considering how many Americans treated Chinese people, and they're doing the same thing. But anyway, my question for people like John, where he's all upset, where is the bitterness and ire for that? If he did mention it at some point, I apologize if I don't know about it, but I'd like to see where he did that, because it seems to be much easier to just point the finger at regular people that are lower on the financial pole than he is, rather than to address the actual person who was over him or the actual issue at hand. I'm not saying the dude can't speak up. Of course, yeah, you can, especially when the injustice is against you legitimately. But when you're the face of something that big, there's a certain level of professionalism people expect. And being racist yourself towards your audience members who otherwise would have been going to bat for you, which they have, is not it. It's the same way I feel about actors in any family-friendly or kid-centered movie. If you sign up to be a part of something that's meant to inspire or bring people together, you can't then go online being divisive and ranting and basically attacking the audience who you want supporting you and mocking them about their criticism and saying shit like everything is too white or this franchise is too white, especially in a country where the majority ethnicity is still considered white. There are white people and black people and Spanish people and every kind of demographic you can think of living in Korea. Imagine one of the residents saying that all of their entertainment in South Korea is too Korean.
Nobody is pissed about black people or Chinese people or any other or people in Star Wars when we've got freaking aliens in there. Shrinking him down to appease China. The Chinese posters, if you didn't know,
Holy shit, I didn't even realize. Yo, oh my god, I didn't even realize that he was still in the poster. Wait, was he really? Wow, I didn't even see him. Oh my god. When that dude said shrink, I thought they just removed him. Wow, they might as well have, because it's like finding Waldo up in that shit. I did not see him. The messed up part is he was already small on the original poster. They made him smaller and he's mad at the fans who are the ones calling out Disney for that shit. What in the world? It's like, if you're going to represent a brand or a story, these people need to understand what comes with that. You can have your views, whatever, but honestly, there's a time and a place to say it and a way to say it, because it just made him look so butthurt and so bitter, and he's not actually helping anyone. He's making himself look worse. Meanwhile, Disney is like, yes, make yourself into a fool. Make them hate you more. Not to mention, does this guy not realize that he's also throwing shade at his castmates too? Like, you can still call stuff out without burning bridges or alienating fans, a lot of them who are the very thing you seem to have a problem with, which is white. And that's the part that people are forgetting, right? When you're in the spotlight, whenever you say something, when you're attached to a brand or a franchise, it doesn't just affect you. It affects the entire project. And that's where, honestly, sometimes you just gotta keep your mouth freaking shut. Be smarter about how you speak. Didn't people in the old days used to have PR reps or whatever to train them as to what to say and how to say it so they don't make themselves look fucking goofy? Like, what happened to those people? What happened to that occupation? I mean, they've opened up all these other useless jobs, but then they scrap the ones that obviously really matter and that they need. Anyway, that ties right back into the whole issue of actors not being held accountable when they're the face of a franchise. So people are watching all of this go down. They're watching John Boyega attacking the fans, their entire demographics. Disney spending ridiculous amounts of money on movies like Snow White that feel soulless and overproduced and underproduced at the same time. Yeah. Weird. And actors going off script and dragging the very stories they're supposed to represent. And then Disney wonders why fans are frustrated. Like, you're dropping $200 million on a remake that nobody asked for, and the lead actor is bashing the original story in the interviews. How is that good representation of the brand? Can't really blame people for wondering and asking and questioning where all this money is going and why everything feels like a mess. And I'm sorry, inflation or not, it doesn't add up. And if the actors can't carry the message without creating controversy, maybe they shouldn't be the ones carrying it. So you have people on Reddit wondering even why the movie is so expensive, like why it flopped so hard. And like, people are saying it shouldn't cost that much. Disney made it via committee, and too many cooks spoiled the broth. Trying to please everyone results in pleasing no one. These are the main reasons for the failure, in my opinion, right? I mean, even for today, the budget was insane for what we actually got. It's like they dumped money into everything but the story and the tone and the actress, apparently. And when a project is run by a committee, if this is actually what's happening, that's true. Everyone's gonna try and insert their message or what they want to go into the movie or how they think it should be or how non-offensive it should be until the whole thing feels really watered down. Like, who was this movie even for? Kids didn't like it. Even the activists didn't like it. The soul was just sucked out of that thing. Nobody liked it. The visual effects weren't even that good, dude. It doesn't warrant it being like costing that much and it being this horrible. Where is the money, bro? Where did the money go? Did they end up spending all of it on damage control for Rachel Zegler?
That my name is Gal, and I'm Jewish, and we have had enough of Jew hatred.
I don't know what you're talking about, baby.
Thank goodness we still have classy actors like Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman, for crying out loud. And Henry Cavill. Honestly, we need to bring back the idea that actors, especially the ones that are being the faces of these large franchises, should be held to a certain standard of class. You're gonna be the face of a movie and represent a brand, act like it actually matters to you, because it does matter. People aren't just gonna love you and respect you just because, oh, I'm pretty and I'm popular. Fuck that. Fans don't want to be lectured by somebody who's cashing a check off of a story they don't even care about when it's just about the money for them. And they sure as shit don't want to be lectured by some brain-dead narcissist millionaire who has no idea what it's like to exist in the world most of the audience does. If actors want to stay relevant or even maintain what little star power they might have, they need to start acting like stars again. They can act, but they can't act like the thing they need to be to keep their career going. Act like a star, not bitter black holes, sucking the ever-loving life and joy out of everything that they touch.
Oh my God, it's just a bit too much.
Do you know what's going to help bring Star Wars fans back? Calling them racist.
And toxic fans are okay with us playing the friend, but we can't touch their heroes. And the comment section just proves that he's right.